The date is not random. It is not chosen by man. It is written, carved into the scroll of time before your first breath, before the rise and fall of nations. August 11, 2025 stands as a line in the sand, a moment when the trumpet will sound not in the streets, but in the spirit. The heavens are aligned, the shaking has begun, and the voice of eternity is calling. Listen, for the ground beneath your feet is not as steady as you think. The walls you lean on are crumbling, and the things you trust will be tested in fire. This is not just another day. It is a summons, a warning, and a choice. And the one who spoke the galaxies into existence has set his eyes on this hour. The appointed time has come. The appointed time is not made by man's hands. It is not the result of chance, nor the random turning of a calendar page. It is fixed, unmovable, inscribed in the eternal record before the birth of the sun, before the sea first kissed the shore. Every moment that has passed, every rise and fall, every storm and calm, every birth and burial, all have been leading to this. August 11, 2025 is not simply a date. It is an intersection between heaven and earth, a moment when the unseen hand writes openly on the walls of history. When the appointed time comes, it is not announced by the news anchors, nor does it arrive wrapped in the comfort of routine. It comes like a whisper to those who watch, but like a thunderclap to those who sleep. It comes with signs not always in the language of man, but in the language of God. Look to the patterns of the seasons, the shifting of the winds, the trembling of the nations. These are not random. They are birth pangs, contractions of a world that is about to deliver a revelation. An appointed time is not negotiable. You cannot delay it with your reluctance, nor accelerate it with your impatience. It arrives in its hour, in its minute, and not a second before or after. It is like the tide. You can neither command it to come nor hold it back when it rises. When God marks a time, all of creation bends toward it. The stars trace their paths across the heavens, the earth turns on its axis, and the days fall like dominoes until that moment stands before you. And now that moment is here. Many live as though there will always be another chance, another season, another year. But there are hours in history when the door swings only once, and those who are outside when it closes will find no second opening. August 11, 2025 is such an hour, not because the date itself is magical, but because the one who appoints times and seasons has set it apart for his purpose. To some, it will pass as any other day. They will wake, work, eat, sleep, and remain unchanged. But to others, those whose ears are open, it will be the day the air feels heavier, the unseen feels nearer, the call feels louder. This is the kind of moment that once came to Noah. For years, he warned of a flood no one could see. The sky was clear, the rivers were calm, and the people laughed at the absurdity. But there was a day, an appointed day, when the first drop of rain fell, and the laughter turned to silence. There was the day when Israel stood at the edge of the Red Sea, pursued by their enemies. The hour came when the waters parted, not a moment sooner, not a moment later. The appointed time comes with precision, for heaven does not work in the clumsy measurements of men. And when such a time arrives, you cannot meet it with indifference. You must choose to step into its call or to turn away. The appointed time always brings a choice. It is the fork in the road, the dividing line between those who will follow and those who will fall away. This is why the Spirit whispers now, prepare your heart. Do not be caught sleeping, for the hour will not wait for your convenience. Understand this: when the appointed time comes, the spiritual atmosphere shifts. What has been hidden begins to surface. What has been delayed begins to move. Doors that seemed locked swing open, and others slam shut with finality. Alliances will form, and alliances will break. Those who have walked in shadows will be dragged into the light. The invisible will suddenly feel visible. The shaking will expose foundations. Some will stand, others will crumble. Do not measure this time by the headlines alone. For while men speak of politics, markets, and wars, Heaven speaks of souls, covenants, and eternity. The appointed time is not about the convenience of the body, but the alignment of the spirit. It is not about whether the world feels ready, it is about whether you are aligned with the one who set this time in motion. This moment is not merely for observation, it demands participation. You cannot stand at a river's edge when the appointed crossing comes and say, I will wait for another day. The waters will close and the opportunity will pass. In the same way, you cannot see the appointed time and treat it as a suggestion. It is a summons from the throne of heaven. In these days leading to August 11, 2025, the signs will multiply. The pace will quicken. The disruptions you see are not random. They are the labor pains of a greater birth. The disquiet in the nations, the unrest in hearts, the shaking of one, stable ground, these are the footsteps of the appointed hour drawing near. Many will be unsettled, searching for answers in the wrong places, trying to cling to what is slipping away. But those who know the voice will not fear, for the same voice that sets the time also holds his own in his hand. But hear this warning, the appointed time is both opportunity and judgment. For those who are aligned, it will be the opening of a door into purpose, protection, and provision. For those who resist, it will be the closing of doors they assumed would always be open. You cannot embrace the time without embracing the one who appointed it. You cannot reap its blessing while resisting its call. August 11, 2025 will be a dividing point. It will not be marked by fireworks or parades, but by a shift in the unseen. Some will awaken to find themselves positioned in the center of God's will, moving in step with his timing. Others will awaken to find themselves off course, adrift, wondering how the moment passed them by. The difference will not be in the calendar, but in the preparation of the heart. If you hear this now, it is not by accident. You have been entrusted with the knowledge that the appointed time is coming. That trust carries a responsibility. Do not bury it in distraction. Do not drown it in doubt. Instead, lift your eyes and align your steps. For when the hour strikes, there will be no time to start building the ark. You must already be inside. The appointed time has come. The trumpet is at the lips. The scroll is about to be unsealed. The tides are shifting and the hourglass is nearly empty. Do not measure this moment by the comfort of your surroundings, for comfort can deceive. Instead, measure it by the weight you feel in your spirit, the urgency that will not let you sleep as you once did. For heaven is moving, and the world will follow whether willingly or in resistance. And when that day dawns August 11, 2025, know this. You are standing in the center of a story written before you were formed. You are not a spectator. You are part of its unfolding. The appointed time has come. And now you must decide how you will meet it. The shaking before the awakening, before the dawn, there is a stirring. Before the harvest, there is a storm. And before every true awakening, there is a shaking. The shaking comes to unsettle, to strip away illusions, to expose what has been hidden beneath the surface. It is the hammer that breaks the hardened ground so the seed of truth can take root. It is not gentle, for the world has grown deaf to whispers, so the heavens send a roar. The shaking is not random chaos. It is purposeful disruption. It comes when the earth has built upon false foundations, when kingdoms stand on sand, when trust is placed in the untrustworthy, when power rests in the hands of the corrupt. It is the hand of God removing the crutches humanity has leaned on for too long. It is the dismantling of counterfeit security. Do not think the shaking is only in the earth's crust or the trembling of nations. It will shake economies until the idols of wealth crumble. It will shake governments until the masks of leadership fall away. It will shake communities, families, and even hearts until every false allegiance is tested. For in the shaking there is no place to hide, not in gold, not in armies, not in titles, not in lies. The shaking is a mercy disguised as a storm. For if God did not shake what can be shaken, we would cling forever to what will destroy us. The shaking pulls our fingers from the idols we have carved and forces us to see the emptiness behind them. It is painful, but it is the pain of surgery, not the pain of a wound left to rot. And yet, in the moment, the shaking feels like destruction. You will see pillars you thought immovable begin to crack. You will watch voices of influence fall silent. You will see alliances between nations dissolve overnight. You will hear the cries of those who have built their lives on what now collapses beneath them. You will see people searching for stability, but the only ground that will not move will be the rock that cannot be shaken. There is an order to the shaking. First, it comes to the high places, to the thrones of power, to the strongholds of pride, to the systems that have mocked the laws of God. Then it moves downward into the streets, the marketplaces, the schools, the homes. It will touch the nations and the neighborhoods alike. No wall is too thick, no gate too strong to escape it. But know this, the shaking is not meant to destroy the faithful, it is meant to awaken them. The enemy intends it for fear and confusion, but heaven uses it for clarity and strength. The shaking will strip away distractions so you can see the horizon clearly. It will remove false voices so the true voice can be heard. It will separate those who are committed from those who are convenient followers. It will make plain who stands in truth and who bows to compromise. The shaking is also a test. It asks, what is your foundation? If your trust rests on the shifting sands of culture, politics, or human approval, you will be swept away when the ground moves. But if your foundation is in the eternal, the shaking will not destroy you, it will refine you. You will feel the tremors, but you will stand. You will watch the collapse of the false, but you will not be buried beneath it. In the days ahead, the shaking will intensify. Signs will multiply, storms of unusual force, unrest in the streets, leaders removed suddenly, voices once celebrated falling into disgrace. Hidden corruption will be dragged into daylight. Long, protected lies will shatter under the weight of truth. And many will say, the world is falling apart. But the truth is, it is falling into place, for the shaking clears the stage for the awakening. Without it, we would never break free from the chains we have learned to decorate. Without it, the world would never be ready for the light that is coming. The shaking softens the hardened soil of hearts, tears down the walls of arrogance, and humbles the nations. It is the trumpet blast before the march, the lightning before the rain. Understand that the shaking will reach even into the personal places of your life. The Spirit will not leave untouched the parts of your heart that cling to fear, resentment, or pride. You may feel your plans unravel. You may watch relationships shift. You may see doors close that you thought would remain open. This is not abandonment, it is preparation. It is the divine hand removing what cannot stand so that what remains will be unshakable. And this shaking will demand a response. You cannot remain neutral. When the ground moves, you either find the rock or you fall. When illusions crumble, you either cling to truth or chase another lie. When the light exposes the shadows, you either step into it or retreat deeper into darkness. The shaking forces the choice that comfort lets you delay. For years, warnings have gone out, but they were easy to ignore while the walls stood firm. Now, as the shaking begins, those warnings will be remembered. The voices that spoke of a greater purpose, a greater power, and a greater kingdom will be recognized as true. And those who laughed before will now listen, for the storm makes even the proudest sailor respect the sea. But here is the mystery: the shaking is not the end. It is the prelude. It is the sound of chains breaking, the preparation of the bride. the clearing of the air before the first rays of dawn. It is the threshing floor where the chaff is separated from the wheat. And though it will be fierce, it will be followed by a stillness filled with the presence of the one who allowed it. The shaking will come whether we are ready or not, but the awakening will only come to those who are watching. Many will endure the shaking but miss the awakening because they were focused only on survival and not on the voice calling them higher. Do not let the shaking make you bitter. Let it make you alert. Let it make you aware that something greater than fear is at work. When the appointed time, August 11, 2025 arrives, the shaking will already be in motion. By then, the foundations of the false will have fractured and the stage will be set for what comes next. The world will look different not because the shaking destroyed it, but because it revealed what it truly is. And those who endure will see that it was not chaos, but construction. It was not the end of hope, but the removal of everything that opposed it. The shaking before the awakening is a mercy wrapped in thunder. It is the storm that clears the skies. It is the trembling that awakens the sleeper. And when you feel it in the world, in your nation, in your heart, do not fear. Stand firm. For the one who allows the shaking is the same one who will bring the awakening, and his kingdom cannot be shaken. The final call to turn. There comes a point in every story when the voice stops repeating, when the warnings cease, when the hand that has been held out in mercy begins to withdraw. That point is the final call. It is not the first whisper in the night or the early trumpet at dawn. It is the last cry before the gates close. It is the line drawn not by men, but by the eternal judge who knows the appointed hour. And that hour is near. The final call to turn is not born of anger alone. It is born of love that refuses to let you perish without one last chance. For generations, the voice has spoken through storms, through signs, through servants who risked their lives to deliver the truth. Yet many turned away, thinking the invitation would always remain open. But the day comes when the ark's door shuts, when the banquet hall is full, when the night falls and the oil in the lamp runs out. Then the knock on the door will no longer be answered. We stand now in that narrowing place. The space between mercy and judgment is shrinking. Each day is not simply another sunrise, it is one less day before the decision is sealed. This is why the final call is urgent. It carries the weight of eternity in its sound. It does not flatter, it does not soothe, it does not negotiate. It says plainly, turn now, for there will not be another call like this. Turning is more than feeling regret. Regret can weep in the night and yet return to the same path in the morning. Turning means changing direction, leaving the path that leads to destruction and walking toward the one who gives life. It means breaking ties with what enslaves you, no matter how familiar or comfortable those chains have become. It means humbling yourself enough to admit that the way you have been going is not the way to life. In the final call, there is no room for delay. Delay is the thief of salvation. Delay whispers tomorrow, but tomorrow is the lie that steals today. Every heart knows the temptation to wait until it feels ready, until life is calmer, until the cost seems smaller. But the final call does not leave time for such waiting. The window is narrowing even as these words are spoken. Throughout history, the final call has come before great turning points. It came to Nineveh through a reluctant prophet, and the city humbled itself, sparing it from destruction. It came to Egypt in the form of warnings to release the oppressed, but the king's heart grew harder, and the plagues came in full. It came to Jerusalem through the voice of the Messiah himself, yet many turned away, and the city was left in ruins. The final call is not new, but neither is the tragedy of ignoring it. The weight of this moment is that you cannot hear the final call without being held accountable for it. Once the truth is spoken to you, you cannot unhear it. You can reject it, but you cannot claim ignorance. The final call leaves you with only two paths: to turn toward life or to turn away and face the consequences. There is no middle ground, and make no mistake, this call is not only for the openly rebellious or the visibly corrupt. It is for the complacent, the distracted, the comfortable. It is for the one who assumes they are safe because nothing has yet shaken their walls. It is for the one who once walked in truth, but has drifted, letting other loves and lesser loyalties take first place. The final call will strip away your illusions of safety and ask, where is your allegiance? In the days ahead, as August 11, 2025 draws near, the call will grow louder. Circumstances will conspire to make you choose. The things you have trusted may fail, the people you have followed may fall, the security you have built may crack beneath your feet. This is not cruelty, it is the mercy of God removing your false refuge so you can run to the true one before it is too late. Do not expect the final call to sound like the voice you prefer. It may come through a stranger, a sudden event, a quiet conviction in the night. It may come in the loss of something you thought you could not live without. It may come through the collapse of plans that were never meant to stand, and you may be tempted to dismiss it because it is uncomfortable. But the final call is rarely comfortable, it is designed to shake you awake. There will be those who mock the urgency, saying, people have been warning of turning for generations. Nothing will happen. But such voices have always existed in Noah's day, in Lot's day, in every generation that stood on the brink of change. And always, when the appointed time arrived, those voices fell silent under the weight of reality. Do not be numbered among them. The final call will also separate relationships. When you turn toward truth, not everyone will walk with you. Some will pull you back toward the old path. Others will accuse you of being deceived or extreme. This is part of the cost. Turning means choosing the narrow road, even if it means walking away from the crowd. But on the other side of that road is life you cannot find on the wide, comfortable way that so many travel. If you ignore the final call, you may still have breath in your lungs, but you will have missed the moment for which that breath was given. And though the world will go on, something eternal will be lost. This is why the call is urgent, why it comes with the full force of heaven's authority. It is not a suggestion, it is an ultimatum wrapped in mercy. And when the appointed day arrives, August 11, 2025, the call will have been made. The choices will stand as they are. The shaking that came before will have done its work. Those who turned will find themselves under the shelter of the Almighty, standing on ground that cannot be moved. Those who refused will find themselves exposed to the very storms they thought would never reach them. This is not written to frighten you without hope. It is written to make you see that hope is still in reach. The final call means the door is still open, but only for a short while longer. Every moment between now and that day is a gift, a chance to align your steps with the path of life. Do not waste it. The final call to turn is sounding now. It is the last echo before the silence, the last light before the night, the last chance before the gates close. And once they close, they will not open again for this season. You will not be able to plead ignorance or ask for another moment. The time to turn is now, not tomorrow, not when it is easier, not when it costs less. Now, the voice is calling, turn, and with that call comes both the greatest mercy and the greatest responsibility you will ever know. The path is open before you, but you must step onto it. The choice is yours, but the hourglass is nearly empty. The hidden will be revealed. There is nothing buried so deep that heaven cannot uncover it. There is no darkness so thick that the light cannot pierce it. For the time is coming and is now at the door when every secret will be brought into the open. The things whispered in the shadows will be proclaimed from the rooftops. The deals made behind closed doors will be dragged into the streets. The masks worn for years will crack, and the true face beneath will be exposed. The revealing is not an accident of history. It is a decree from the throne of the Almighty. When the appointed hour arrives, the hidden cannot stay hidden. It is as if the earth itself grows restless, refusing to cover the lies any longer. The wind begins to carry whispers of truth. The waters wash away the dirt that has buried evidence. The very air grows heavy with a sense that something is about to be uncovered. For too long, injustice has been cloaked in power. Deceit has walked in daylight wearing the garments of respectability. Wickedness has smiled for cameras and shaken hands as though it were righteous. But the days of hidden corruption are numbered. The judge of all the earth has watched in silence, not because he approves, but because he has allowed time for repentance. That time is ending. When God chooses to reveal, the process is unstoppable. No wall is too thick, no vault too secure, no network too secret to escape his reach. He has 1,000 ways to bring truth to light: a careless word spoken in the wrong ear, a document left in the wrong place, a confession in the dead of night, a chain of events so precise it could never be coincidence. And when it happens, those who thought themselves untouchable will find their names on every tongue. The revealing will not be confined to the corridors of politics or the boardrooms of power. It will touch every level of life. In communities, hidden betrayals will come to light. In families, buried wounds will be uncovered. In hearts, hidden sins will rise to the surface where they must be faced. For the season ahead is one where pretenses will shatter. The lines between the false and the true will no longer be blurred. They will stand in stark contrast. Some will mourn when the revealing comes, for they built their lives on illusions. They trusted leaders whose words were honey, but whose hearts were poison. They defended systems that looked strong, but were rotting inside. When the curtain is pulled back, the shock will be like a blow to the chest. But the revealing is a mercy, for it is better to face a painful truth than to live forever in a beautiful lie. The uncovering will also reach into the spiritual realm. There are voices that have spoken in the name of God, but were never sent by him. They built platforms, not altars. They sought fame more than faithfulness. For a time their words deceived many, but the hour is coming when the fire will test every work. The gold will shine brighter, but the wood, hay, and stubble will go up in smoke. And the people will see who truly stood in the counsel of the Lord and who merely borrowed his name. You will know the season of revealing by the discomfort it brings. It will not be a time of easy smiles and polite applause. It will be a time of gasps, of sudden silence, of headlines that shake the nations. It will be the kind of season when men who have hidden behind armies and fortunes will find themselves alone and exposed. And the world will watch as giants fall not by the strength of men, but by the weight of truth. This revealing is not to entertain the curious. It is not gossip. It is a cleansing. The filth that has been tolerated is being scraped away so that what remains can be pure. It is the removal of rot so that the structure can stand. Without it, awakening cannot come, for how can the light of revival shine through walls painted with deception? Do not think you will be untouched by the revealing. Every heart will be tested. The secrets you hold, the ones you have convinced yourself are harmless, will be brought before you by the Spirit. This is not to condemn you without hope, but to give you the chance to repent before the whole world sees what you have tried to hide. For those who humble themselves now, the revealing will be a release, the weight of secrecy lifted, the chains of guilt broken. But for those who refuse, the revealing will come as a storm, tearing down everything they built to protect themselves. And yet, even in the exposure, there is purpose. God does not reveal to destroy without cause. He reveals to bring justice where there has been oppression, to bring healing where there has been abuse, to bring freedom where there has been bondage. He tears away the veil not only to expose the wound, but to clean it and make it whole. In the days leading to August 11, 2025, you will see signs of the unveiling. Whispers will turn to shouts. Leaks of truth will become floods. The hidden alliances of the powerful will fracture under the strain of exposure. Scandals will not fade quietly into the shadows, but will erupt in the open. Some will try to cover them again, to buy silence, to spin lies into new disguises, but the time for covering is over. When the appointed day comes, the pace will quicken. The curtain will be pulled back further than anyone imagined, and it will not only be the corruption of the world that is revealed, it will be the true strength of those who stood quietly in righteousness. Names you have never heard will rise to honor, not because they sought it, but because the revealing will show they were faithful when no one was watching. The revealing is both judgment and vindication. It humbles the proud and lifts up the humble. It crushes the empire of lies and exalts the kingdom of truth. And it makes clear that there is no hiding place outside the covering of the Almighty. For the same fire that exposes also protects, but only those who walk in the light. The hidden will be revealed. That is not a threat, it is a certainty. The question is not whether it will happen, but how you will stand when it does. Will you be among those who rejoice because justice has come, or among those who tremble because the truth has caught up to them? Will you greet the light as a friend or flinch from it as an enemy? The season is upon us. The wind is shifting. The ground is stirring. The vaults of secrecy are being unlocked. And when the flood of truth is unleashed, there will be no stopping it. The only safe place will be in the shelter of the one who already knows every hidden thing and still offers mercy before the final day. The choice that decides everything, every story, reaches a point when the next step determines the ending. Every life comes to a crossroad where the path chosen will shape not only the days ahead, but the eternity beyond. That is where we stand now. The shaking has come. The revealing has begun. The final call has sounded. And now before you stands the choice that decides everything. This choice is not hidden in mystery. It is not for the elite or the educated alone. It is the same choice given to kings and to beggars, to prophets and to thieves, to nations and to individuals. It is the choice between life and death, truth and deception, light and darkness, the kingdom that cannot be shaken and the world that will soon crumble. Many will try to pretend there is a third way, a middle road where they can walk in the comfort of the world, yet claim the promises of God. But that road does not exist. The middle ground disappears when the shaking comes. The fence you thought you could sit on has been swept away. Now you stand in the open, and you must decide where your allegiance lies. The choice is not merely about religion, tradition, or cultural identity. It is about surrender. It is about who will have the final say over your life. Will it be the one who formed you, who wrote your days before one of them came to be, who offers you mercy and purpose? Or will it be the self, the crowd, the voices that tell you there is still more time? Understand this choosing is unavoidable. Even refusing to choose is a choice, and it is never neutral. Silence in the face of truth is consent to the lie. Delay in the moment of decision is surrender to the enemy of your soul. Every breath you take moves you toward one of two ends, and you cannot drift your way into the right one. The weight of this decision is magnified by the hour we are in. August 11, 2025 is not simply a date to observe. It is a threshold to cross. It is a dividing line in the timeline of history and in the lives of those who hear this warning. By that day, the lines will be drawn. The storms will have tested every foundation. The revealing will have left no mask intact, and the call to turn will have been heard by all who are willing to listen. Some will come to that day with their hearts set, anchored to the rock that cannot be moved. Others will arrive still clinging to fragments of the life they refuse to release. But on that day, there will be no hiding, no pretending, no buying time. What you have chosen will be made plain, and the consequences will follow. This choice will cost you something. All real choices do. To choose life may cost you your pride, your comfort, your false security, perhaps even relationships you thought you could not live without. But to choose the other way, to reject the truth, to hold on to the illusions will cost you far more. It will cost you peace, it will cost you purpose, and in the end, it will cost you eternity. Do not underestimate the pull of the wrong choice. It will not come dressed in obvious destruction. It will often come clothed in beauty, convenience, and compromise. It will promise you that you can have both worlds, that you can bend the truth to fit your desires, that you can delay obedience without consequence. But those promises are hollow. They are baited hooks designed to hold you until it is too late to escape. And do not underestimate the power of the right choice. The moment you align your will with the will of God, everything shifts. The chains you thought unbreakable begin to loosen. The fears that kept you bound begin to fade. The path that seemed impossible begins to open before you. You step into the shelter that no storm can penetrate, into the light that no darkness can overcome. The choice that decides everything will not be made in the noise of the crowd, but in the quiet of your own heart. It will be made when you are alone, when no one is watching, when the only witness is the one who already knows your answer. It will be made not by your words, but by the alignment of your life. You can speak loyalty, but your actions will reveal the truth. The urgency of this choice is sharpened by the reality that time is not infinite. The sands in the hourglass are almost gone. The trumpet is at the lips. The signs have been given. The warnings have been spoken. The doors are still open now, but they are closing. Every day you wait, they close a little more. And when they shut, they will not reopen for this season. History is full of those who waited one day too long. The people of Noah's time laughed until the rain began to fall. The citizens of Jerusalem dismissed the warnings until the enemy was at the gate. The rich man in the story of old lived in luxury until the moment came when comfort could no longer reach him. They all face the same truth. When the appointed hour arrives, the chance to choose is gone. This is why the choice must be made now, before the pressure of the moment forces your hand, before fear or pride tries to harden your heart, before the enemy whispers one more time, "You still have tomorrow." Tomorrow is not promised. Today is the day of decision. When you choose the way of truth, you step into a kingdom that cannot be shaken. You align yourself with the eternal, with the one who holds history in his hands. You become part of something larger than yourself, something that will outlast the earth itself. And when the storms come, as they surely will, you will stand. When you choose the other way, you tie yourself to a world that is already collapsing. You anchor your hope to a ship that is sinking. And though it may seem steady for a moment, when the waves rise, it will break apart beneath you, and there will be no rescue. The choice that decides everything is before you now. Not in a year, not in a month now. By the time August 11, 2025 arrives, your decision will have already taken root. You will either stand among those who are unshaken or among those who are swept away. The shaking was sent to wake you. The revealing was sent to warn you. The final call was sent to summon you. And now all of it leads to this moment, this choice. You will not be able to say you did not know. You will not be able to claim you were not warned. The voice has spoken. The signs have been given. The responsibility is now in your hands. Choose life. Choose truth. Choose the rock that will not move when the earth itself trembles. Do it now, while the door is still open, while mercy still extends its hand, while the light still shines. For soon the day will come when the choice will be made for you, not by your desire, but by your delay, and in that moment eternity will be sealed. This is the choice that decides everything, and you will live with the weight of it forever.